Today, we're going to dive into why looking poor is actually one of the most powerful strategies for achieving financial security, stability, and freedom. How can someone earning over $100,000 a year still live paycheck to paycheck? Now, here's the harsh truth that I've learned after many years of experience, and it's one that not many people want to hear. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you actually get to keep. Now, for many high earners out there, the real challenge isn't the income. It's avoiding the trap of lifestyle inflation and keeping up with the Joneses. Lifestyle inflation happens when your lifestyle and your spending rises along with your income. And yes, it's a thing. It's also a big problem that, if left unchecked, can lead to serious financial trouble. If you know what I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments what your experience has been. This is something I struggled with for a long time, and if I'm being honest, it's still something I need to keep in check. I believe this is something we all deal with throughout our lives because the more money we make, the more we tend to want to spend. The goalpost is always moving, and it's never enough, right? Let me illustrate this further with a quick example. Now, imagine you just landed a job. You just landed a nice promotion, and your salary goes from, let's just say, $80,000 to $120,000. Now, naturally, you celebrate your hard-earned success, right? Maybe you upgrade your car, maybe you move into a larger home, or even take the big trip to Europe. I've been there. I've done that. Why not? You deserve it, right? And while I personally agree it's important to celebrate your successes, your wins, and give yourself credit for the good things you do and that you achieve, if you're not careful, those celebrations can become your new norm, and your lifestyle can quickly inflate and skyrocket. Who here has not experienced the fact that spending is easy, but making the money is not as easy? It's a little more difficult, right? YOLOing through life can give you a brief moment of joy, in fact, many moments of joy, but it can also bring devastating effects on your finances. Now, here's where it gets dangerous. The more your lifestyle inflates, the more expensive it becomes to live for you, the harder it becomes to actually scale back. Once you've adjusted to a higher standard of living, it's tough to go back because you may even justify it by saying, hey, I don't want to go backwards. But just because you can afford something, it doesn't mean that it's a good idea to actually buy it. As Warren Buffett famously said, and personally I love this quote, if you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things that you need. Now, lifestyle inflation traps you in a never-ending cycle of working harder to pay for things you thought would make you happy, when in reality, they keep you stuck in the same place, or worse, pull you backwards. You may be earning more money than ever, but feeling more broke than ever. What's going on here? Now, let me introduce you to something that you may have heard of, but never actually thought about it. Let's talk about the pressure of keeping up with the Joneses. Why do we have this need to do so? While many decisions we make are personal, they come from within us, we can't ignore the societal pressures that influence us. Whether we realize it or not, there's often an unspoken competition to match the lifestyle of those around us. Maybe you see friends and colleagues upgrading their homes, driving fancy cars, the nice Porsche, the BMW, the Mercedes, or maybe they just go into a really nice trip to Bali or across Europe, whatever that is. And certainly we feel the pressure to do the same. Now, Carl Jung, one of my favorite psychologists and one of my mentors, he explained that societal pressures can unconsciously force us to display an image that meets those standards of society. It's an image that helps us fit in and avoid rejection. But here's a harsh truth. The Joneses are probably broke. Your neighbor might be broke. Those people that you look up to on social media, they may be broke. They may not even be able to sleep at night. The shiny new car in the driveway, maybe it's leased with payments of over $1,000 a month. Those fancy vacations to Italy, hey, they may be piling up on credit card debt. Don't ask me how I know. Maybe they get a bigger house, which likely comes with a mortgage that leaves little room, if anything at all, to saving, investing, or even making it through the end of the month. It's sad, but it's true. When you try to keep up with the Joneses and comparing yourself to other people, you're not just hurting yourself financially, you are playing a game that you cannot win. And here's why. Because there will always always be someone richer, wealthier, or better off than you. I know that it's hard to resist the pressure. On a recent trip to California with my wife, we rented a 1970 Corvette convertible for our baby moon. It was a blast, I gotta tell you. But the more I drove around these wealthy neighborhoods in California, surrounded by luxurious cars, I couldn't help but think, man, this whole keeping up with the Joneses is real. I feel like I want to get a bigger home. I want to buy this car right now. Of course, I didn't do anything drastic, but the moment I came back home, all those things vanished. And it's actually one of the lessons I want to share here with you, that the pressure to perform and show off often comes from what you surround yourself with and what you see. Now, here is a solution that I want to propose to you, and that is the philosophy of looking poor even when you're making six figures. And I don't mean living with 10 roommates, sleeping on a $20 mattress, or eating corn dogs every day. I've been there. What I mean is living well below your means, no matter how much money you earn. So here's some things to help you think this way. Think twice about upgrading your car without needing one. Maybe you can live in a home that meets your needs and not your ego. Buying or renting something that actually fits your needs. Or maybe skipping that expensive vacations if they will throw you off financially. Let people wonder why you're not showing off while you quietly build your wealth. By the way, spoiler alert, no one pays attention to ourselves more than ourselves. We think that other people care and think about what we do, but the truth is, no one cares more than we do. Every dollar you spend on showing off is a dollar that you can invest in your future. Personally, this is a philosophy that my wife and I have worked hard to internalize. We could buy a bigger home. We could buy a luxurious car, but we don't. And not because we have unlimited money, we don't. We do it because we prioritize our family financial security and our goals. For example, we recently bought a car that we could afford with cash. Even though people in our circle were telling us to buy a house, we're still renting and saving towards making a large down payment. We're walking our own path regardless of what other people are saying. Now, this brings me to a crucial point of delayed gratification. Instead of spending on things that make you look rich, you could invest in things that will actually make you rich, such as your education, stocks, real estate, or starting a business. Personally, I've invested tens of thousands of dollars in my education beyond college. Buying courses, hiring coaches, buying books, and investing in the stock market in my retirement. And I'm sharing this not to brag, but to encourage you to keep improving and getting better. Over time, the money that you save and you invest will grow into real wealth. Wealth that gives you freedom and security rather than temporary satisfaction and keeping up with appearances. So having said all of this, here are some practical steps I want to share with you to help you avoid lifestyle inflation, and which I share with my clients. Number one is automating your savings. Now, this is a strategy I've talked about before, and which my wife and I started implementing a few months ago. But trust me, it's a game changer. Automating your savings is one of the easiest ways to avoid spending more as you earn more. You can set up automatic transfers to make sure the money arrives in your savings or investment account every time you get paid. This way, the money is out of sight, out of mind, and you're less likely to spend it, and you save more faster without even having to think about it. Number two is creating a budget that reflects your priorities. I know, the infamous word of budget. But please don't be like me, who used to think budgeting was for broke people. Now, here's a cold hard truth. The truth is that not budgeting will make you go broke. What I've come to learn the hard way is just because you make six figures doesn't mean that you don't have to budget or take account of your money. The way I think about a budget is like this. It's essentially a plan that aligns with your long-term financial goals and not your short-term desires. You could track your expenses over a 3-month period and identify areas where you can cut back without sacrificing your happiness or well-being. Again, we don't have to go back to living like a college student. I know I didn't when I was getting out of debt with my wife, but we were 100% in tune with where our money was going. That's a lesson we learn and a strategy we implement until today. Number three, focus on experiences and not things. I ran into a study from the University of British Columbia and the Harvard Business Review some time ago, and they explained how money can actually buy happiness. I know, a little counterintuitive. One of the findings was that people are happier when they spend money on experiences like travel or spending time with your loved ones rather than material possessions. So one way to help you focus on your own happiness is by shifting your focus from accumulating stuff to creating meaningful experiences. And trust me, you don't have to go on expensive vacations. A quick lunch, dinner, a road trip can be enough to build up bond and family relationships. When you are happy with your life, your situation, and the memories you make with people that you love, you'll be more at peace with yourself, live a more fulfilling life, and will be less likely to try to focus on what others are doing and trying to catch up with them. Remember to focus on you. Number 4 is delaying big purchases. Now, whenever you're tempted to make a big purchase, whether it's a new car, a home renovation, or an expensive phone, like an iPhone, or a large vacation, give yourself some time to think it over. Don't act on emotions. I know that we are emotional human beings, but let's just give this a little bit more time to cook in the back of our heads. Depending on what it is, set a rule to wait a week before making any major financial decisions. Often, the urge to spend will fade and you'll realize you didn't really need the item after all. I like to do this with small purchases as well. Sometimes I go on Amazon and add a bunch of stuff to my cart, but at the end of the day, I don't buy it. Then a couple of days later, I go back to my cart, and if I still need it, then I get it. But otherwise, one of the findings is, hey, about 95% of the time, whatever I added, I just end up deleting it. So try it out for yourself and let me know how this one goes. Number 5 is investing in assets and not liabilities. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a great book, by the way, teaches that the wealthy focus on buying assets while the middle class and the poor focus on building liabilities. Now, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, like investments or real estate or education. And a liability is something that takes money out, like a fancy car with a very expensive monthly payment. Now, the key is here to focus on building a portfolio of assets, that is, a set of assets that grow in value over time. Now, many people make the mistake that only material things are assets, but in reality, there are other assets such as your emotional, physical, and mental health, your education for you and your family. One thing that my wife and I invest heavily on is our peace of mind and our health. We know that if we are healthy and always improve and increase our knowledge, hiring experts to help us improve, reaching all of our goals is inevitable and only a matter of time. So remember that you are the most important asset that you have. Now, last but not least, surround yourself with like-minded individuals. If you're constantly surrounded by people who are spending lavishly, you'll feel the pressure inevitably to do the same. Instead, seek out friends and mentors, people that you follow on social media who value financial independence and living below their means. Like this channel, for instance. So like the video and subscribe if you're finding it helpful. You'll find it easier to stay on track when your environment supports your goals, and the people who are ahead of you, you take them as motivation to work harder while still being mindful of the way that you spend your money. Remember that living below your means isn't about deprivation or being cheap. It's about prioritizing your long-term wealth over the short-term satisfaction. By adopting a mindset of looking poor, you free yourself from pressure to keep up with others, and you open the door to financial stability and freedom. As Seneca, one of my favorite Stoic philosophers, once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." You don't have to show off your wealth to be successful. In fact, some of the wealthiest people I know in the world are the ones you never expect. They live quietly, they invest wisely, and let the money work for them, while others burn through their money trying to impress people they don't even like. If you're a six-figure parent or professional struggling with your money, living paycheck to paycheck, and need accountability and guidance to finally start moving forward and achieving your financial goals and turning stress and uncertainty into confidence and clarity, check the link in the description. I do offer one-on-one consulting sessions. I can help you establish a clear, actionable, and prioritized financial plan so you can achieve financial security and freedom faster. Check out the link in the description. So what about you? Have you ever felt the pressure to keep up with others? What steps have you taken to avoid lifestyle inflation and build wealth? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Thank you guys for being here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. Peace.